Do you think you got the parents that you were supposed to have? I remember hearing these things back in, I think it was 2012, the first time I heard it. I got into my just different stuff, biohacking, personal development, spirituality, all that good stuff started kicking off in 2009. And 2012 was kind of an uptick level for me. And I remember hearing people say that, like, and I thought this was woo-woo, kind of hippie, like when you chose those parents because you wanted to learn something and your soul had an agreement. And was gonna make a video about something else tonight, decided to make it about this. Specifically with your dad, do you think your dad was supposed to be your dad? Like, especially if you think of who your dad kind of was not. Like, man, I really needed this, I really needed that. You know, I needed someone who was there, who was present, who was calm, who was strong, whatever it was. Someone who didn't work as much, made more money, made too much money and he wasn't around, whatever it was. I was thinking back about my own dad and decided to make this video. My dad was super erratic, incredibly emotionally unstable, not calm, not centered. I was shown that masculinity was yelling, aggression, that if someone you worked with or worked for you did something wrong, you yelled and screamed and berated them, slamming doors, throwing things in the house. That's what I thought masculine power was. Now, I don't know about you, but this could be one of those opportunities you could take and look and go, oh, your parents did this and that they did a bad job and things like that. And you could blame them. This is the wrong YouTube channel to tune into if you want to blame your parents. I'm sure there's other ones where that's could be part of their MO. But it would be convenient for the ego to blame, you know, oh, if I would have had a different dad, this and that. If I would have been born in the right city, the right parents. My dad personally was, for the most part, a warning of what not to do or be as a man. Excuse me, maybe you can relate. Or maybe your dad was 50-50, 20-80, 80-20. The other thing would be being a good example of what a man is. It's interesting though, if you really want to grow as a man and become a good man, a healthy man, an integrated man, you know what can really help? Having a fucking crazy ass dad. Having a dad who is violent, drinks, cheats, drugs, bad decisions, erratic. My dad didn't do all those things, most of them, but not all of them. So if you're a guy who knows there's more to life, there's more on this journey of who you're becoming, what if whoever your dad was the perfect dad for you? I can think back to my dad picking me up from high school when I'm 15 years old. And by that point, I think I knew something was wrong with him. I had a drug intervention for him around that time when I was 15 or 16 that he admitted he was, I think it was 15, doing cocaine, drinking a bunch, or binge drinking, I guess, cheating on my mom. Then later came the Oxycontin, which is like heroin in a pill. All these messy things. And I don't know that I would go back and trade any of it. Very uncomfortable for a kid to be in it. Probably why I blocked out a lot, you know, for a lot of my life, blocked out parts of my childhood before my teens. But what if the dad you chose and how he showed up was the exact training you needed as a guy? And by accepting that, by making peace with that, by letting go that that's what you had. That's how your dad was. Maybe your dad's dad. My dad passed, gosh, it'll be a couple more weeks. It'll be 16 years. And sometimes we can hold on hoping things should have been different, should have been a certain way. There was this Tony Robbins quote I heard when I was at an event years ago, and I thought it was really corny and silly. And then later I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't get it. And he talked after his mom died about all the horrible things his mom did, that she would like hit him, that she would pour liquid soap down his throat and accuse him of lying even though he didn't. What else was it? That she would lie and say she lost her prescription, and then he would go back to the pharmacy on her behalf, getting a new prescription. And he said this quote, didn't make sense to me back then. He said, if I had the mom I really wanted or needed, I never would have had the opportunity to become the man I needed to become. Meaning if he had a quote unquote normal, healthy mom, it wouldn't have taught him the depth, the flexibility. For me, and maybe you can think about your dad now, it wouldn't have taught me how to slow down. It wouldn't have taught me, I got into my own drug addiction stuff and how much that could hurt someone. I didn't hurt someone, I just saw it with my dad and then saw how messy my life was years ago and said, can't do this. Saw what it's like to have a parent who's not present. Saw what it's like to have a parent that's really emotionally unstable, who's suppressed years worth of emotions, decades probably. So what if God, the universe, gave you an instruction manual, an owner's manual, by giving you the mom, the dad, maybe both, of how not to be like, how not to model, to not be an example of? Life's not always so black and white. My dad loved me as much as he could, and he was a fucking mess. Not a healthy dude, doing the best he could. You know what is an interesting paradox? What lays the foundation for really thinking about being intentional, changing your life, what it means to be a good man, a good husband, and a good father, having a dad that wasn't. So what if on this, what day is it? 8:30 on this Tuesday night. What if you chose that dad? As fucked up as he was. That you chose, you said, see that fucking crazy guy? Almost like you sat down at the boardroom of life. It was you, or your soul, right? Your spirit. It's God, and then it was your dad, and they're like, hey, this soul's got some shit to figure out in the next life, where he's gonna be your dad. He's gonna be kind of a fucking hot mess. And you're actually gonna be a more evolved spirit that has some deeper lessons to learn. And we're gonna stick you two poor bastards together to evolve. Because you got some big stuff to do, especially the kid. I don't know about you, I had times in my life where I blamed my dad. Just by part of having that bad relationship or blaming him, I gave away some of my power. But we come to a place of faith, of believing things that are chosen, that came out exactly how they're supposed to be. No matter what you're going through, no matter what who your dad was, it can put some peace in the heart. To go, yeah, things are right on target. Even when everything seems fucked. And I don't know about you, I said my dad was a a warning for the most part of what not to be, who not to be as a man. But you know what? It wasn't 100%. There was things, my dad's strength, his power, his vision, his will to keep going, his weird fucking sense of humor, his making random terrible songs like dad humor that must be genetic because I've inherited it. His creativity, his cunning, his resourcefulness to find a solution, to find a way out. There were some good qualities about my old man as well. And those are just some. So what if you got the perfect father to help you become exactly the man you needed to become?